7 knockouts, 10 submissions, 6 decisions. Just how good is Paddy Pimblett? Let's talk about the infamous, the deadly, the controversial Paddy Pimblett. Do not let his looks deceive you guys. This is a cold-blooded killer in the MMA world, feared by all, worshipped by many. Pimblett is the complete package, trash talker, crowd pleaser, overeater. You thought Khalil Roundtree had a heartwarming origin story? Paddy Pimblett has overcome a horrific eating disorder while competing in the UFC. That in itself deserves massive applause from the fan base. A somewhat controversial character, just look at the dude out here looking like a medieval peasant in the year 2025. Paddy Pimblett has an uncrackable Scouser chin, which has saw him skyrocket to UFC stardom in rather rapid fashion. The rise of Paddy Pimblett sort of surprised many of us, and so far he has dispatched nothing but the killers who stood in his path to UFC gold. Jordan Levitt, Bobby Green, and Michael Chandler were no match for his MMA mastery, and now he will be taking aim at Justin Gatheje for the interim lightweight title at UFC 324. And look, you can only take what the UFC gives you, so I know some fans have a real problem when it comes to Pimblett's rise and his stardom, but ask yourself this: who does that to Michael Chandler, folks? No, seriously, it's fair game to criticize this because honestly, there are so many killer prospects at lightweight that Pimblett didn't dodge, but it's awfully convenient he didn't have to face them. Sadikov, Ziam, Benoit St. Denis, Mauricio Ruffy, Manuel Torres, Grant Dawson, Gamrot. Lightweight is loaded with upcoming talent, and Paddy just got away with fighting Jordan Levitt and Jared Gordon as his, big early tests. All I'm saying is, I'm on to you, Dana White. So a bit of a privileged rise, maybe, but we'll get more into that later. I know maybe you might not consider Paddy this huge name that's bringing new life to the sport, but you have to admit, he is one hell of a needle mover. Paddy truly is a gift to this sport because we need superstars again, plain and simple. Paddy Pimblett brings so much energy to the UFC where we have a lot of these NPCs that don't sell themselves, so I'm really not that mad at Paddy Pimblett getting a privileged rise up the rankings because I'm quite honestly overjoyed at the fact that he's at least trying to be a superstar. That's what this sport lives and thrives off of. That's how we get new fans into the UFC, is these big superstar names. So Paddy Pimblett has my respect in that regard. It's a business of entertainment. If you just come in, act like a total NPC and never sell yourself, you deserve nothing but what the UFC gives you. This is no longer the old classic ranked ladder of the UFC like it was, say, 5-6 years ago. Now it's the entertainment era. It's the attention era. You actually need to make people care. One moment that always stands out to me is Paddy Pimblett trash-talking Ilia Topuria during the 282 press conference. That is what you do. Because the UFC hardly does promo, they give the opportunity for the fighters to write their own story, do your own promo, and these meatheads just don't get it. So today, we are going to answer many burning questions and uncover the real truth about Paddy Pimblett. Can he actually fight? Because now the conversation is getting serious. He's fighting for an interim title, and I feel like I still don't know where his skill ceiling is. Does he have what it takes to defeat pothead golfer Justin Gatheje, or will he let glory and fame slip through his fingers when it matters most? Let's find out. Paddy Pimblett. When high-level grappling wizardry meets an unbreakable scrapping Scouser. Strike accuracy, 54%. Pimblett looks pretty atrocious against capable boxers. He is not a boxer himself, but he does display good MMA striking, good patience, composure, accuracy. Considering all his elite grappling skill, his striking really isn't that bad. People just like to clown him for it because of the Jared Gordon performance. Strikes landed per minute is 5.1, and Pimblett can go full aggro when he needs to. You saw that in the Michael Chandler fight. Dynamic finishing ability on the feet, like a jump knee, good jumping switch kicks. Strikes absorbed per minute is 3.4. Takedown average is 0.9. Pimblett does not rush his takedowns. He's not a wrestler. He is a MMA grappler. It seems like he prefers being a bit of a hybrid. Who knows? He never really feels forced to get a takedown like you see a lot of desperate wrestlers do. Pimblett is a highly confident grappler who doesn't force the issue, in my opinion. Submission average of 1.6. This is Paddy Pimblett's bread and butter. He has phenomenal positional control and grappling physicality. He's a big lightweight. He's a really big lightweight. Cuts a lot of weight. He gets very, very heavy out of camp. So far, 2 rear naked chokes over Kazula Vargas, whoever the hell that is, and Jordan Levitt. That's a respectable wrestler right there. And that nasty, like, double whammy triangle choke armbar he hit on Bobby Green, that was actually really slick. Pimblett is very high level in BJJ, and a serious threat to anyone in the scramble. Takedown accuracy is 29%. Strike defense is 42%. Now this is extremely concerning going into the Justin Gatheje fight, okay? Justin has always had this death touch power that kind of goes under the radar, so I do worry for Pimblett getting touched on the chin. He manages range quite well, but we just haven't seen him against like a really high-level counter-puncher like Gatheje is, so it could get interesting. Takedown defense of 50%, knockdown average of 0.4, average fight time of 8 minutes, 56 seconds. Well-rounded, risk-taker, ability to sell. Paddy Pimblett wins by being hard to approach in a fight because he's a phenomenal grappler, but also can flip a switch and become a proper spaz on the feet who lacks a bit of technique, but he packs power and wild combinations. He's always struck me as a fighter who is just hard to game plan for, sort of like Dricus du Plessis because of his variety of skills, that unpredictability, but they still have power, so he takes a lot of risks, which can be good or bad, and his star power, I think, is real leverage that he may not be able to take into the cage with him, but I'm still comfortable calling it a real strength. Weaknesses: weak boxing, too aggro. Paddy has really bad strike defense. In practically every fight, his chin gets touched at least a little bit, and I know it's a fight, but he's going to get busted up if that keeps on happening. Gaethje, Topuria, Arman all hit very hard, so Pimblett could take serious damage going into these matchups. He needs to be careful with that. His aggro flurries will start to get punished quite heavily, so I do worry a little bit for Pimblett in boxing exchanges. When Paddy's being aggressive, he is very good. I just worry about him getting clipped on the chin by some of these more serious strikers. Best performance, Michael Chandler. 2-6 in the UFC, Michael Chandler is no easy fight, okay? Just ask Dan Hooker or Misfits boxer Tony Ferguson. Look, Paddy Pimblett showed up in this fight in phenomenal physical shape. I was really quite impressed with this one. I think we all can agree that this was his best performance, and it's his most recent performance, which is a great look. I still find it so perplexing how he can shave off so much weight so quickly in preparation for a fight. Just how good is Paddy Pimblett's nutritionist? Fights on and Chandler does what Chandler does, squat low and crash forward like an unranked bum, a Bellator champion. Not cutting it in the UFC with that technique, so very predictable fight style from Michael Chandler here. Squatting real low, Paddy was able to intercept him with front kicks and knees, and some crafty uppercuts as well. Pimblett really did his homework for this one. Paddy was badly punished by throwing very telegraphed low kicks in moments, and here he is paying for it brutally. His chin is next level, because full power right hands from Michael Chandler, wouldn't advise putting it into the diet. And so Chandler spent the first round smushing Pimblett into the cage, but Paddy fought back well. And after being bullied into the cage for about a minute, Paddy jumps for a flying triangle. These are the risks I'm talking about. You gotta watch yourself with Pimblett. Get out of there! Paddy ends the round strong by charging after Chandler, whose only defensive skill is honestly just to turn his back and run from incoming punishment. Truly elite. Pimblett does have good blitz striking. Is that chin being served up on a silver platter, though? You bet your ass it is. Chandler is built like a damn ox and managed to take down Pimblett with a big slam, but like the low IQ meathead wrestler he is, was instantly reversed by Pimblett, who is just the superior grappler in the matchup. And Paddy Pimblett is arguably one of the best ground fighters at lightweight. I know Oliveira is also nasty with it and way more proven, but Pimblett isn't far behind with what he can pull off on the ground. Round 3 begins with an excellent finishing sequence from Paddy with a jump knee to the face. And instead of going buck wild here, Paddy Pimblett makes a genius read and goes for a takedown against a still dangerous but fading Chandler. And this led to one of the nastiest ground and pound sequences of the year. 12-6 elbows from Paddy Pimblett, super brutal, so bravo to him. This was a dominant victory, which you should reward with a big step up in the ranking, but also with that being said, cut Chandler or feed him to an upcoming lightweight prospect. Most fun, Jared Gordon. Now that we've just gone through Paddy Pimblett's best performance, let's take a trip down memory lane and break down this stinker. But let's preface this with Paddy fracturing his ankle in this fight. Casuals don't know about this. You can see him suffer the injury at 3:47 in round 1 after throwing a head kick. So he gets a bit of a pass from me, I guess, but still, you should just be finishing Jared Gordon if you're in the UFC. Fights on, and Jared Gordon just has faster hands than Pimblett, straight up. Paddy ran into this counter left hook all fight long, even before the injury. And one thing that needs to be said is the fan reception that Pimblett got after this was brutal. I mean, rightfully so. It's sort of the Aspinall situation, all these quick finishes, all this dominance, that sort of becomes the standard. and Pimblett put on his first stinker. So Paddy Pimblett's mobility was completely compromised, and this led to quite a sloppy fight with him taking a ton of punches to the face. Jared Gordon, not very good either. So this fight was pretty fun, pretty entertaining. No finish. It was a decision victory for Paddy Pimblett that was quite controversial. Was it funny seeing him get peppered up by a teeny tiny lightweight like Jared Gordon? At the time, yes. But now we know the truth and the injury, and we've seen how quickly Pimblett has evolved since this moment, so not the biggest red flag in hindsight. Upcoming matchup, Justin the Highlight Gaethje. Now Gaethje, I think, retires if he loses this, okay? He's spoken about it before and even threatened the UFC with it if he didn't get a title shot against Ilya. And I really don't like hearing that, because if you look at Justin Gaethje and his lifestyle, he is a guy who loves the idea of retirement, okay? Big golfer, big pothead, no kids. This guy just can't wait to be retired and not be fighting anymore, so Paddy Pimblett is on the better trajectory here for winning this thing. I really believe that. However, Gaethje is still a super hard-hitting fucking lightweight with great KO power, a good sprawl game, so another risky fight for Pimblett, risky for both. Pimblett likes to hang that chin a little high. Gaethje has no idea what the fuck he's doing in the jiu-jitsu department. He's a fucking white belt. But Pimblett still needs a way of getting Gaethje to the ground, or getting his back and actually getting some good control in here, which could be tough. There is a chance this matchup goes longer than Pimblett expects and gets really busted up with low kicks. Who knows, maybe Pimblett ends up in a brawl that he just can't hang in, can't last in, you never know. But I just feel better about a Paddy Pimblett pick. He's improving faster than Gaethje is, who I think is 1 foot out of the door already, threatening retirement, so his last win is over Rafael Fiziev, which is just unimpressive to me. I'm sorry. It's a rematch against a low-ranked lightweight who you've already beat. Fiziev wins haven't aged well either. Bahamundez is good, I guess. The head trauma that Gaethje has sustained through his life is just otherworldly. Like, I don't think this goes well for him. He has some advantages, don't get me wrong. Pimblett has a good resume, but a bit of a shallow one, so it is still a close fight. I'm comfortable ranking it risky for both, but I will probably end up siding with a Paddy Pimblett pick. But let's discuss it further in the comments. I want your guys' takes on it. 5-round main event for an interim title. Winner fights Topuria. Big stakes attached to this one. We know Paddy Pimblett has history with Topuria. But as for the quality of the matchup, don't really care about Arman right now. Let's get the lightweight division moving again, shall we? As always, thank you guys for watching. Drop your favorite Paddy Pimblett moment down below.